When a person we love departs from this world and steps into eternity, something inside of us changes forever. The world looks the same, yet it never feels the same again. Their chair may still be in the same corner. Their voice may echo in memories. Their smile may live in photographs. But there is an emptiness that words struggle to explain. Yet in that emptiness, there is sometimes a moment, a soft, gentle moment, where it feels as if the distance between heaven and earth becomes thin. It may come as a memory. It may come as a feeling. It may come in a dream, in a whisper of the Spirit, or in that quiet second where your heart suddenly stops and then melts. In that holy moment, you feel as if your loved one is speaking, and not with the voice of the past, but with a voice overflowing with peace, comfort, and heavenly clarity. You feel them calling not with human emotion, but with a divine echo, "Open your heart." Or to understand such a moment is to understand the language of heaven, a language that does not use words, but uses presence, peace, and a love so pure it cannot be mistaken. We are physical beings, but we are also spiritual beings. Our bodies belong to the earth, but our souls belong to eternity. And because of this, we are connected to those who have gone before us in ways that break past the limits of time and space. When they step into heaven, they do not vanish, they transform. Their love does not die, it deepens. Their voice does not disappear, it becomes clearer in the moments when we need it most. Heaven is not a faraway place hidden behind clouds and galaxies. Heaven is closer than breath, closer than thought, closer than memory. It is a realm where love continues, where souls rest, where pain ends, and where truth shines. When someone we love reaches that realm, they see things we cannot yet see. They understand things we cannot yet understand, and sometimes, through the thin veil between worlds, we sense them inviting us to open ourselves to something greater than sorrow, greater than fear, greater than the weight we carry. When someone in heaven calls out, they do not call us to look backward, but to look inward and upward. They do not remind us of what we lost, they remind us of what still lives. Grief can close the heart. Pain can harden the heart. Regret can silence the heart. But the voice from heaven urges us not to remain locked inside those walls. The invitation to open the heart is an invitation to healing. It is not a denial of pain, but a pathway through it. It is the moment when we realize that love does not end at the grave. Love stretches across eternity. And that love asks us to open ourselves again, to hope, to faith, to life. There are many moments in life when we feel alone, when the nights feel longer than the days, when silence feels heavier than noise. Losing someone we love can make the world feel dim, but heaven does not let their light disappear. It reflects their love back into our lives like sunlight bouncing off a mirror. Sometimes you may feel a sudden sense of comfort with no explanation. Sometimes you may feel a peace that makes no logical sense. Sometimes you may feel guidance when you were lost, or strength when you were weak, or clarity when you were confused. These moments are not coincidences. They are reminders that heaven is watching, loving, and speaking. The heavenly voice does not sound like thunder, it sounds like warmth. It does not command with force, it guides with tenderness. It speaks in the language of the Spirit, the language of love. And that love tells you to open your heart, not because your heart is wrong, but because pain may have closed it without your permission. Every wound tries to build a wall. Every disappointment tries to lock a door. Every loss tries to shut down parts of the soul. But the voice from heaven calls gently, saying you do not have to remain closed. You do not have to stop living. You do not have to stop loving. You do not have to shrink into the shadows of grief. Instead, open your heart to the truth that life still holds meaning, that you still hold purpose, and that their love still surrounds you even now. When a heavenly voice calls, it also brings clarity. It helps you remember what truly matters. Not arguments that never should have happened. Not mistakes that are now behind you. Not the regrets that try to haunt the mind at night. What matters is love, love given, love received, love remembered. The ones in heaven no longer carry earthly frustrations or human limitations. They do not remember you with judgment. They remember you with love. They do not look at what you failed to do. They look at what you meant to them. They see you not as you were at your weakest moment, but as you are at your truest essence. And when they speak, they call that part of you forward. They remind you that you are more than your pain. You are more than your mistakes. You are more than your fears. You are someone who can still grow, still give, still rise. The voice from heaven encourages you to let go of the burdens you were never meant to carry alone. It invites you to release guilt, release sorrow, release what is too heavy for one human heart. It encourages you to trust that they are not suffering, that they are not lost, that they are not in darkness. They are in the fullness of light, in the presence of a love greater than we can imagine. And from that place, they want you to live, not merely survive. They want you to breathe without heaviness, to move without fear, to smile without pretending. Opening your heart does not mean forgetting them. It means allowing their love to guide you forward instead of holding you back. It means letting their memory be a source of strength instead of sadness. It means believing that the bond between souls does not dissolve. It transforms into something eternal. They do not want you to live in pain. They want you to live in purpose. They do not want you to be chained by loss. They want you to be lifted by the love that still connects you. When the voice from heaven calls, it calls you back to life. It calls you back to yourself. It calls you back to love. Not the fragile love of this world, but the enduring love that begins on earth and continues in eternity. And so, when you feel that whisper, that presence, that gentle pull inside your spirit, allow yourself to listen. Allow yourself to soften. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to open. Your heart may have been wounded, but it is still capable of healing. It may have been broken, but it is still capable of loving. It may have been heavy, but it is still capable of rising. The voice from heaven is not a command from the past. It is an invitation into the future. And that future, no matter how dark it may seem now, is filled with more hope, more meaning, and more light than you realize. Your loved one in heaven is not asking you to move on from them, but to move forward with them, carrying their love not as a weight, but as a wings beneath your spirit. They want you to open your heart, because through an open heart, you reconnect with life, with God, with purpose, and with the truth that you are never truly alone. Their voice is not gone. It has simply become a voice of heaven, guiding you gently toward healing, peace, and the fullness of who you are meant to become. There are moments in life when the heart becomes a closed room. Sometimes it happens quietly, so quietly we do not even realize it is happening. A disappointment here, a betrayal there, a loss too heavy to carry, a dream that didn't survive the storm. Pain arrives piece by piece until suddenly the heart that once felt wide and open begins to tighten, harden, and close. We say we are fine, but inside something is locked. We move through our days, but the deeper part of us is hidden behind walls we built for protection. Then one day, unexpectedly, in a moment when we're not even looking for it, we feel something stir within us. It may be during a quiet night, or while looking at a familiar picture, or when our mind drifts to someone who has gone on to heaven. In that gentle moment, a voice reaches us, not with sound but with presence, and it says, "Open your heart." To open the heart is not a simple request. It is not an easy command. It is an invitation that challenges everything we have done to protect ourselves. We build walls because we're afraid of being hurt again. We close doors because reopening them feels like reopening wounds. We wrap our hearts in silence because speaking of our pain might make it real. But the voice that calls from heaven is not here to break us. It is here to free us. When someone who loves us speaks from eternity, they see us not as we pretend to be, but exactly as we are. They see the tears we hide. They see the burdens we carry. They see the dreams we buried. They see the heaviness in our souls, even when we smile to hide it from the world. And because they see the truth without judgment, they whisper, "Open your heart." Opening the heart begins with honesty. Not honesty to others, but honesty to ourselves. It means admitting that we have been hurting. It means acknowledging that grief has shaped us, that fear has silenced us, that pain has humbled us. It means recognizing that we have grown cautious with love, cautious with trust, and cautious with letting ourselves feel deeply. We often believe shutting the heart will protect us, but the truth is that a closed heart protects us from joy just as much as it protects us from pain. A closed heart cannot feel healing. A closed heart cannot feel peace. A closed heart cannot feel the warmth of connection. And so the heavenly voice does not ask us to be strong in the way the world defines strength. It asks us to soften. It asks us to release what we have been gripping too tightly. It asks us to let love flow into the places that have been dry for too long. To open the heart is to allow healing to begin. Healing is not an instant process. It is a journey, a slow unfolding of compassion toward ourselves. The voice from heaven is patient. It does not demand that we spring up in joy immediately. It simply asks us to take one gentle step, to open just a little, to breathe a little deeper, to allow a little light into the places where shadows have lived. Healing begins the moment we stop running from our emotions and start listening to them. It begins the moment we stop pretending and start feeling. It begins when we admit that we need help, that we need comfort, that we need love. When the heavenly voice says, "Open your heart," it is also calling us to forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It is not approving of what someone did, and it is not forgetting the pain they caused. Forgiveness is the release of the emotional weight that has kept us stuck. It is the unshackling of a heart that has been tied to bitterness, resentment, or regret. Sometimes the person we need to forgive is no longer here to hear it. Sometimes they are in heaven, and because they now see things clearly, they want us to let go of the pain that keeps us from living freely. They want us to forgive not for their sake, but for ours. They want us to release what binds us mentally and spiritually so we can finally breathe without heaviness. When we open our hearts, we make space for forgiveness to enter, and forgiveness makes space for peace. Opening the heart also means allowing ourselves to love again, not necessarily in romantic ways, but in every way that matters: loving people, loving life, loving purpose, loving our own growth. After loss, it is common to pull back from deep connections because the fear of loss feels too great. But the heavenly voice reminds us that love is worth the risk. Love is the only thing we carry with us beyond this world. Love is the only treasure that has value on earth and in heaven. And the one who has gone ahead of us does not want us to live guarded and isolated. They want us to live with openness, with tenderness, with the courage to feel again. They want us to build new memories, to form new bonds, to live fully in the time we have been given. there is also a call to open the heart to purpose. Many times, pain disrupts our sense of direction. Loss can make us feel empty, wandering, unsure of what comes next. But purpose does not disappear just because we are hurting. It may hide, but it waits for us. When the voice from heaven calls us to open our hearts, it is reminding us that we are still needed, still capable, still chosen for something meaningful. It is encouraging us to step into the reason we are here, the mission we are meant to fulfill, the lives we are meant to touch. Our loved ones in heaven do not see our weaknesses, they see our potential. They do not see what we failed to do, they see what we are still capable of becoming. And they call us forward. To open the heart is also to open the spirit. There are questions we all carry, questions about life, about death, about God, about meaning. Losing someone we love often awakens spiritual curiosity. We wonder where they are. We wonder if they are at peace. We wonder if they see us. We wonder if they know how much we miss them. The heavenly voice invites us to trust what cannot be seen. It invites us to believe in the invisible threads that connect us to those we love. It invites us to deepen our relationship with God, to rest in faith, and to recognize that eternity is not a distant concept, but a reality that touches our lives every day. Opening the heart to the spiritual realm does not mean abandoning logic. It means allowing ourselves to feel the truth our soul already knows, that love cannot die, that souls continue, and that heaven is real. To open the heart is to choose vulnerability over numbness. Numbness may feel safe, but it is empty. Vulnerability may feel scary, but it is alive. A heart that is numb cannot feel sadness, but it also cannot feel joy. A heart that is closed cannot be hurt, but it also cannot grow. A heart that refuses to feel pain also refuses to feel love. Vulnerability does not mean weakness. It means allowing love to flow freely. It means letting ourselves be seen, letting ourselves be comforted, letting ourselves experience both the softness and the strength of being human. As the heavenly voice calls us, it reassures us that we are not alone. We are supported by the love of those who have gone before us and the presence of the divine. We do not open our hearts blindly. We open them into the loving hands of heaven. The ones who call us from beyond are not asking us to step into pain. They are asking us to step out of pain. They are asking us to let go of the emotional armor that has kept us from living our fullest truth. They are asking us to trust that love is safe, that hope is safe, that living is safe. And so we begin slowly, gently, intentionally to open. Maybe just a little at first. Maybe just enough to feel a flicker of warmth. Maybe just enough to feel a faint sense of peace. And with each small opening, something begins to shift inside us. The weight grows lighter. The tears feel cleansing instead of crushing. The memories feel comforting instead of painful. The future feels possible instead of frightening. We begin to remember who we were before the pain closed our hearts. We begin to rediscover our strength, our compassion, our tenderness, our capacity to love. And in that rediscovery, we start to become whole again. The voice from heaven does not ask for perfection. It asks for openness. It asks for willingness. It asks for courage. And with that courage, we take the first step toward living again, feeling again, loving again, and becoming who we were always meant to be. Opening the heart is not something we do once. It is something we do every day. It is a continuous choice to be alive, to be present, and to allow love, human love, divine love, and the eternal love of those in heaven to guide us forward. Forgiveness is one of the most difficult journeys a human heart can walk. It is not a simple choice, not a switch to flip, not an emotion that arrives overnight. It is a slow unfolding, a wrestling of the soul, a releasing of something we've held on to for so long that it sometimes feels like part of our identity. When someone we love passes into heaven, forgiveness gains new meaning. The voice that speaks from eternity has no bitterness, no resentment, no anger. In heaven, love is pure and understanding is complete. The ones who have gone before us see everything not with the eyes of pain, but with the eyes of truth. If they reach out to us and whisper that gentle invitation, let go, forgive, it is not because they deny what hurt us, but because they see the freedom waiting on the other side of release. Many people misunderstand forgiveness. They assume it means approving what someone did, or pretending the pain wasn't real, or erasing the memory of wounds that shaped us. But forgiveness does not mean forgetting, it means healing. It does not mean trusting again, it means loosening the grip of bitterness. It does not mean returning to what broke you, it means stepping out of the prison of the past. Forgiveness is not a gift for the one who hurt us, it is a gift for ourselves. When we refuse to forgive, we keep the wound open, we keep the pain alive, we carry the weight long after the moment has passed. The heart that refuses forgiveness becomes heavy, guarded, and wary. It loses its softness, its freedom, its ability to feel joy fully. The voice from heaven sees this, and that is why it gently calls us to release what is hurting us more than it is hurting anyone else. But forgiveness becomes even more complex when it involves someone who is no longer here. What do you do with apologies you never received? What do you do with conversations that will never take place? What do you do with the questions you can no longer ask? With the closure you will never hear in earthly form? When the person who hurt you or disappointed you or failed you is now in heaven, forgiveness becomes a dialogue of the heart. It becomes a surrender of what cannot be changed. It becomes a decision to let peace take the place of pain. If they were here, perhaps they would explain. Perhaps they would apologize. Perhaps they would share the pain or confusion that shaped their actions. But life does not always give us the closure we desire, and so forgiveness becomes an act of faith. A belief that releasing the burden is better than holding on to it forever. Sometimes the person we need to forgive is someone we deeply loved. Sometimes it is a parent who did their best, but still left wounds. Sometimes it is a friend whose choices hurt us. Sometimes it is a partner who did not love us the way we needed. And sometimes, hardest of all, the person we need to forgive is ourselves. Forgiving ourselves is often the most painful form of forgiveness. The human heart is quick to show mercy to others, yet shows little mercy to its own mistakes. We carry guilt for things we said, things we didn't say, things we should have done, things we could have done better. When someone we love dies, we often revisit every moment, every memory, looking for what we could have done differently. But guilt does not change the past, it only steals the present. The voice from heaven, full of clarity and love, sees the truth we often hide from ourselves. We did the best we could with what we had, with who we were, with what we knew at the time. They see the intentions of our heart, even when we see only our imperfections. Forgiving yourself is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of growth. It is recognizing that the heart cannot heal while being punished by the mind. It is choosing compassion over condemnation. It is choosing to believe that you are worthy of peace, worthy of rest, worthy of moving forward. The heavenly voice whispers gently, urging you to stop carrying a burden that heaven itself has already released from you. In eternity, they see you through the eyes of love, not through the lens of mistakes. They hold no resentment, no accusations, no disappointment. They want you to live without the weight that guilt has placed on your shoulders. Forgiveness also means releasing the pain of events that shaped us more deeply than anyone knew. There are wounds we carry that were not caused by a person, but by life itself. The sickness that stole time, the tragedy that came without warning, the circumstances that felt unfair, the unanswered questions that linger like shadows. Forgiving life is one of the most silent and personal forms of forgiveness. We don't blame life intentionally, but we feel the weight of what life took from us. When someone we love is in heaven and they speak into our hearts, they remind us that life is not an enemy. Life is a journey, often unpredictable, sometimes painful, but always meaningful. They remind us that everything we experienced, joy or sorrow, laughter or tears, became part of our growth. They encourage us to release the bitterness that life's hardships may have planted in our hearts. They call us to trust that even the painful chapters served a purpose we may one day understand. Forgiveness becomes a bridge that connects the heart to healing. When we forgive, even if the other person never knows it, the heart becomes lighter, the mind becomes clearer, the spirit becomes freer. Forgiveness does not erase the past, it rewrites the meaning of the past. It allows us to look back not with anger but with understanding. It allows us to step into the future without dragging chains behind us. It allows us to love more deeply because the heart is no longer cluttered with old wounds. When someone in heaven calls us to forgive, they speak from a place where truth is complete. In heaven, they see their own imperfections from a place of humility. They understand the pain they may have caused. They see with clarity the moments we misunderstood, the moments we hurt, the moments we needed more than they could give. And if they could speak directly, their message would be filled with compassion. Forgive others because holding pain is not your purpose. Forgive yourself because you deserve peace. Forgive life because carrying resentment only hurts your future. Forgiveness is not a single moment. It is a process, a journey of releasing layer after layer of old pain. Some days it feels possible, other days it feels impossible. Some memories feel light, others feel sharp. But as long as we continue to walk gently, step by step toward forgiveness, the heart slowly becomes softer. It becomes more open to healing, more open to love, more open to growth. The heavenly voice does not ask us to forgive instantly, but encourages us to begin the journey. Even the smallest step forward is a victory. As forgiveness grows in the heart, something miraculous happens. Peace begins to fill the spaces where bitterness once lived. Strength rises where pain once weighed heavily. Compassion replaces resentment. Understanding replaces judgment. And with that transformation, we begin to feel connected again to ourselves, to others, to life, and to the ones we love who are now in heaven. Forgiveness becomes a way of honoring them. It becomes an offering of love. It becomes a reflection of the peace they want us to have. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the heart. It is the bridge that leads from sorrow to peace, from anger to understanding, from heaviness to freedom. And the gentle voice that calls us from heaven knows this truth with perfect clarity. They call us not to minimize our pain, but to release it. Not to forget what happened, but to heal from it. Not to erase the past, but to walk into the future unburdened. They ask us to forgive because forgiveness is the doorway through which the heart can finally breathe again. Purpose is a quiet voice most people spend their lives trying to hear. It is not loud, not forceful, not dramatic. It whispers through moments, nudges through feelings, speaks through experiences, and grows through seasons. Purpose is the reason you are here, the reason your heart beats the way it does, the reason certain things matter to you more than they matter to others. And often, it is the voice from heaven, the love of someone who has crossed into eternity that reminds us of the purpose we have forgotten. When someone we love is now in heaven, they see our lives with a clarity we cannot grasp from earth. They see our strengths, our potential, our destiny, and the divine design woven around our existence. They no longer see the confusion we feel. They see the path we are meant to walk. And so when their presence touches our hearts and encourages us to open ourselves to purpose, it is a call to awaken to who we truly are. Many people go through life feeling lost. We wake up, we work, we move, we survive, but we do not feel connected to the deeper meaning behind our days. Pain can disconnect us. Failure can discourage us. Loss can blind us. When someone we love dies, it can shatter our sense of direction. The world shifts under our feet. The meaning we once found in things becomes blurry. We ask ourselves questions we never asked before. We question the purpose of life, the purpose of our efforts, the purpose of our struggles. In those moments of questioning, purpose can feel distant, like a light too far away to reach. But it is often in these same moments that the voice from heaven speaks the loudest, not with words, but with comfort, with a sense of guidance, with an inner knowing that we are not meant to stay empty forever. Purpose is not a destination, it is a relationship. It grows as we grow. It reveals itself as we heal. It becomes clearer as we open our hearts to the truth that we matter in ways we may have forgotten. You may feel small, but your purpose is not small. You may feel broken, but your purpose is not broken. You may feel lost, but your purpose is not lost. The one who has gone to heaven sees the full picture of your life, while you are only seeing one chapter. They know the parts of you that you have not yet discovered. They know the potential you underestimate. They know the courage you don't realize you possess. And if they could speak directly to you in a voice you could hear, they would tell you that your purpose is still alive, still calling, still waiting for you. Purpose often hides under the things that hurt us. It grows through the struggles we don't understand at the time. Pain shapes compassion. Loss shapes wisdom. Challenges shape strength. When we walk through darkness, purpose forms like a seed buried in the ground, waiting for the season when it can rise. The voice from heaven wants you to understand that nothing you endured was wasted. The tears you cried watered the soil of your soul. The heartbreak you survived created depth inside you. The silent battles you fought made you stronger, even if you didn't realize it. They want you to see that every chapter, beautiful or painful, was part of shaping the person you are becoming. Sometimes purpose is revealed through the very thing you thought would break you. The person in heaven who watches over you now sees how much you have survived. They know the resilience that lives inside of you. They know the lessons you learned the hard way. They know the gifts you carry, the ones you sometimes forget. They know the dream you put down because life became too heavy. And they whisper to you to pick it up again, to trust again, to step forward again. They want you to realize that your life still has meaning beyond the moments that hurt you. Purpose is also found in loving others. When we love, we touch lives. When we care, we make a difference. When we show kindness, we leave traces of heaven on earth. The person you love, who is now in heaven, remembers how your love touched their life. They remember your presence, your sacrifice, your laughter, your kindness. They see how much love you still carry, but sometimes hide. They want you to use that love, not bury it. They want you to allow your heart to expand, to reach people, to heal people, to bring comfort to those who are hurting in ways similar to what you once felt. They want you to know that your love has the power to change lives, even when you feel invisible. Purpose is the way your soul serves the world. It may not be loud, it may not be public, it may not be something others applaud. Sometimes purpose is quiet, like being the one who listens. Sometimes purpose is gentle, like being the one who encourages. Sometimes purpose is strong, like being the one who holds their family together. And sometimes purpose is deeply personal, like becoming the version of yourself you once believed you could never be. The voice from heaven sees your purpose clearly because they see the impact you can make on others. They know that your life has a ripple effect. Every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, every step toward healing sends waves into the world. Purpose also requires courage. Stepping into purpose means stepping out of fear. It means letting go of the belief that you are not enough. It means trusting that you were created with intention, not by accident. It means listening to the inner voice that says, you were made for more. The one in heaven is cheering for you, not in a symbolic way, but in a spiritual way that brings strength into your heart when you need it most. They remember your fears, but they also see your capability. They want you to know that your fears do not define you, your purpose does. There is a moment in every person's life when purpose starts to awaken. It is often not dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet moment when something in your heart simply says, I can't stay where I am anymore. Sometimes it comes through a new idea, a sudden inspiration, a feeling that this is what you were meant to do. Sometimes it comes through pain that pushes you forward. And sometimes it comes through the spiritual presence of someone who loves you from heaven, guiding your steps in ways that you feel more than understand. Purpose begins when the heart opens to possibilities instead of limitations. Walking in purpose does not mean knowing every step. It means trusting the next step. It means moving even when the path is not fully visible. It means believing that your life has meaning even when you feel uncertain. Purpose grows with action. It grows when you take one step, then another. It grows when you choose to rise after falling. It grows when you refuse to let pain define your future. The one who is now in heaven sees every effort you make, even when others do not. They see the moments when you keep going even though your heart is heavy. They see the strength in your survival. They see the light in you that you sometimes ignore. And they encourage you to continue walking, knowing that you are closer to your purpose than you realize. Purpose is also connected to healing. When your heart begins to heal, your purpose becomes clearer. When you release what hurts you, you make space for what grows you. When you forgive, you free the energy needed to move forward. The heavenly voice knows that as you heal, you will rediscover parts of yourself you thought were lost. You will remember dreams you left behind. You will uncover gifts you never noticed. You will embrace paths you once feared. They want you to understand that purpose is not something you chase. It is something you become. There is a calling deep inside every human soul. It might be quiet, but it is persistent. It might be buried, but it is alive. When someone we love is now in heaven and they call our hearts toward purpose, it is because they want us to live fully, not halfway. They want us to honor life with our actions, our love, our growth, our courage. They know that living with purpose is the greatest tribute we can offer to their memory, the greatest expression of the love we still share, the greatest way to shine the light they left behind. Purpose is the way we transform pain into wisdom, sorrow into strength, loss into love. It is the way we become who we were always meant to be. And when the voice from heaven calls us forward, it is because they believe in us even when we doubt ourselves. They know the difference we can make. They know the life we can build. They know the meaning we can create. and they want nothing more than for us to step boldly into the future, open-hearted, open-minded, and open to the purpose that has always been waiting for us. There comes a moment in every person's life when we begin to understand that love does not end when a heartbeat stops. Love does not disappear when someone we care about steps into eternity. Love does not fade simply because we can no longer see the person who once meant everything to us. Instead, love becomes something deeper, something spiritual, something woven into the fabric of who we are. The ones who live in heaven now leave us with a legacy that continues shaping our lives in ways we often do not realize. And in the quiet spaces of our hearts, they call us to live in a way that honors the love they gave us, the lessons they taught us, and the memories they left behind. Living with love and legacy is not about pretending that the pain is gone. It is about discovering that the love is greater. The heart can hold both. We can feel the ache of missing someone while also feeling the warmth of the love they left planted inside us. That love becomes a guide, a source of strength, a reminder that their story did not end. It simply changed form. They are no longer physically beside us, but they walk with us in every moment of courage, in every act of kindness, in every choice to keep moving forward. We honor their legacy not by staying trapped in sorrow, but by letting the love they gave us flow into our actions and our lives. Legacy is not about grand achievements. Legacy is about the imprint of a life lived with meaning. Every person who enters our life leaves a mark. Some marks are soft like a whisper. Others are heavy like a hand on the shoulder. But the ones we truly loved, the ones who touched our souls, leave marks that become part of our identity. Their words echo in our decisions. Their smile appears in our memories. Their lessons guide us at unexpected times. Sometimes we make a choice or speak a word or share a piece of wisdom, and later we realize that it came from them, from something they once said or something they once modeled. Their influence becomes a thread woven into our character. When someone we love is now in heaven, their legacy becomes something we carry forward, not something we leave behind. They want us to live in a way that reflects the values they taught us: compassion, resilience, strength, patience, kindness, faith, courage, honesty. They want us to live fully, not halfway. They want us to love boldly, not timidly. They want us to be generous with our time, our heart, and our purpose. They want us to become a source of warmth in the world, just as they were a source of warmth to us. Sometimes the legacy left behind is not made of lessons but of moments. Moments when they made us laugh until our stomach hurt. Moments when they held us in our darkest nights. Moments when they encouraged us when our confidence was fading. Moments when they believed in us more than we believed in ourselves. These memories are not small, they are treasures. They become the stories we tell, the inner strength we draw from, the comfort we hold on to when life becomes heavy. Their presence may no longer be physical, but their impact continues to shape every meaningful part of who we are. Loving someone who is in heaven means understanding that the relationship did not end. It changed, but it did not end. The love still exists, but now it flows in a different direction. Instead of hugging them, we feel them. Instead of hearing their voice, we sense their guidance. Instead of seeing their smile, we remember it. And in those memories, we realize that love is stronger than separation. Love is stronger than absence. Love is stronger than death itself. Living with love means allowing yourself to feel the connection without being afraid of the pain it may trigger. The heart heals not by forgetting, but by embracing. Embracing the truth that the person you love is still part of your story. Embracing the comfort that they are in a place free of suffering. embracing the reality that their love surrounds you even when you feel alone. And in this embrace, you find that their legacy is not something you must struggle to carry. It naturally lives within you. Legacy often reveals itself through the ways we begin to act like them without trying. You may notice yourself using their phrases, repeating their habits, or showing their kind of compassion. Maybe you stand a certain way they used to stand. Maybe you laugh in a way that echoes theirs. Maybe you cook a meal the way they once taught you. Maybe you treat others with the same generosity they showed you. These moments are sacred because they show that their life was not wasted. They live on through you. They breathe through your actions. They echo through your kindness. Living with legacy also means understanding that you are part of theirs. They may no longer be here physically, but the way you live becomes a continuation of their story. When you show love to others, you extend theirs. When you forgive, you grow in the strength they inspired. When you rise above obstacles, you fulfill the hope they had for you. When you become the best version of yourself, you honor everything they ever poured into you. Some people fear that moving forward means leaving their loved one behind. But moving forward does not erase the past, it carries it with grace. The person in heaven does not want you to stop living. They want you to continue because your life is also part of their legacy. They want you to smile again, laugh again, dream again, love again. They do not want your days to be spent in the shadows of grief. They want your days to be filled with the light of purpose and love. They cheer for your progress, celebrate your growth, and support your healing. Living with love and legacy means becoming a reflection of the love they showed you. It means offering others the same warmth you once received. It means being patient because they taught you patience. It means being brave because they showed you courage. It means being compassionate because they gave you compassion. It means speaking life into others because they spoke life into you. Their legacy becomes your strength, and your life becomes their continuation. As you walk through the world, you will carry their presence with you. You may feel them in your heart during moments of silence. You may feel them watching over you when you face difficult decisions. You may feel them celebrating your victories. You may feel them comforting you when you stumble. And every time you choose love over anger, forgiveness over resentment, gratitude over bitterness, you honor them. The beauty of legacy is that it transforms pain into purpose. The love that once felt like a loss becomes a foundation for growth. The memories that once triggered tears begin to inspire hope. The relationship that once felt broken by death becomes strengthened by eternity. You learn to carry the love with peace instead of sorrow, with gratitude instead of ache, with strength instead of weakness. In the end, living with love and legacy is about understanding that the relationship continues in a new form. They shaped your heart while they were here. Now their love shapes your future. Their legacy becomes the compass that guides your steps, the courage that fuels your purpose, and the warmth that fills your life with meaning. You do not walk alone. You walk with the love of someone who now walks in heaven, lifting your spirit, shaping your journey, and reminding you that the bond you share is eternal. There comes a time in every person's life when the reality of eternity begins to feel closer than we ever imagined. We spend so much of our lives believing that time stretches endlessly before us, that tomorrow is guaranteed, that we will always have the chance to say what we meant, fix what we broke, or love who we should have loved more deeply. But life has a way of reminding us that eternity is not far away. It is as close as a final breath. It is as near as a heartbeat. And when we begin to understand that truth, Our entire perspective changes. We start to see life differently. We begin to live with intention. We begin to recognize that every moment matters, every word counts, and every choice leads us closer to the life we are meant to live and the eternity we must be prepared to face. Preparing for eternity is not about fearing death, but about understanding life. Eternity is not something that begins after we stop breathing. It begins in the way we choose to live now. Every decision we make, whether to forgive or hold anger, to love or withhold affection, to help or ignore, to bless or to curse, shapes the kind of soul we become. Eternity is not a distant place, but a continuation of who we already are becoming. And when we live with that awareness, our priorities shift. The things that once consumed our minds lose their power. The grudges we held begin to feel small. The chase for material things loses its shine. Instead, our hearts start longing for what lasts. Love lasts, kindness lasts, compassion lasts, faith lasts. The legacy we build through our character lasts. The way we treat others lasts. Everything else fades like dust. There is a quiet wisdom that comes when a person realizes that life is temporary. It does not make them hopeless, it makes them grateful. Every sunrise feels like a gift. Every smile feels like a blessing. Every conversation feels like an opportunity, and every relationship feels like an entrusted miracle. When we prepare for eternity, we begin to see that the most important parts of life are not the moments of achievement, but the moments of connection. We begin to value people more than possessions. We begin to value peace more than pride. We begin to value love more than winning. Eternity teaches us humility, and humility opens the heart to transformation. Preparing for eternity also means healing what has been broken within us. Many people carry wounds they never speak of. Wounds from childhood, wounds from betrayal, wounds from loss, wounds from disappointment. These wounds shape the way we treat others and ourselves. But eternity calls us to heal so that we do not carry bitterness into the next life. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is not pretending it never happened. Healing is letting go of the pain so that it no longer controls our heart. Healing allows us to meet eternity with peace rather than regret. And healing begins the moment we choose to face what hurt us instead of running from it. Eternity offers us the courage to forgive those who hurt us, to release the burdens that weigh us down, and to reclaim our sense of purpose. Living with eternity in mind also means strengthening our connection with the spiritual part of ourselves. Every human being is more than flesh and bone. There is a part of us that longs for meaning, that seeks truth, that yearns for purpose beyond the physical world. When we ignore that part of ourselves, life becomes heavy and confusing. But when we nurture our spiritual life through prayer, reflection, gratitude, faith, or simple stillness, we begin to experience a peace that is not dependent on circumstances. We begin to understand that eternity is not just a destination, it is a relationship with the divine, a relationship with the love that created us, a relationship with the source of every breath we take. And when that relationship becomes strong, fear loses its power. Many people fear eternity because they fear the unknown. But eternity is not unknown to the heart that seeks truth. The soul was created with a longing for the divine. There is a reason we feel peace when we love, when we forgive, when we are kind, when we help others, when we show mercy, when we give generously, when we trust with faith. These moments connect us with the eternal. These moments reveal who we truly are. And these moments tell us that eternity is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Preparing for eternity also means examining our lives honestly. We cannot change what we refuse to see. We cannot grow from what we refuse to acknowledge. There are habits we need to let go of, attitudes we need to shift, behaviors we need to correct, and choices we need to reconsider. No one becomes ready for eternity by accident. It is a process of intentional living. It is a daily decision to choose what is right instead of what is convenient. It is a daily effort to become the kind of person who brings light into the world instead of darkness. Eternity calls us to transformation, and transformation requires courage. One of the most profound ways to prepare for eternity is through love. Not the easy love that comes naturally when things are perfect, but the deeper love that forgives, understands, endures, and grows. Love is the greatest preparation for eternity because it is the language of heaven. When someone we loved has gone ahead of us, we often feel their love more deeply than ever before. In the quiet moments, we sense their presence. In moments of difficulty, we sense their encouragement. In moments of joy, we sense their celebration. They remind us that love does not end, it simply moves into another realm. And when we live a life of love, we align ourselves with eternity. Preparing for eternity also means letting go of unnecessary attachments. Many people carry burdens they do not need to carry. The burden of perfection, the burden of pleasing others, the burden of living up to expectations, the burden of fear, the burden of guilt, the burden of shame. These burdens are heavy because they were never meant for us. Eternity invites us to travel light, to release what no longer serves our growth, to forgive ourselves for our past mistakes, to accept our humanity, to find peace in knowing that we are imperfect but loved, flawed but valued, broken but redeemable. When we let go of these burdens, our hearts become free, and a free heart is the closest thing to heaven on earth. Preparing for eternity also teaches us that time is precious, not something to waste, not something to mismanage, not something to take for granted. Eternity teaches us to speak the words we have been holding inside, to tell people we love them, to forgive quicker, to apologize first, to show kindness even when it is not returned, to choose peace even when conflict feels easier, to appreciate small moments, to laugh more often, to be present instead of distracted. Time becomes meaningful when we stop living for someday and start living for today. Eternity is prepared for one day at a time. As we grow more aware of eternity, we also become more grateful. Grateful for the lessons life has taught us. Grateful for the people who have shaped us. Grateful for the moments that brought joy. Grateful even for the struggles that made us stronger. Gratitude opens the heart to grace, and grace prepares the soul for eternity. Gratitude softens the rough places inside us and allows us to see the beauty that was always there, but often overlooked. When gratitude becomes a daily practice, we begin to experience life as a gift rather than a burden. Preparing for eternity does not pull us away from life. It makes us live life more fully. It teaches us to cherish relationships, to use our gifts, to pursue our purpose, to walk in values that matter. It teaches us to live in such a way that when we reach the end of our journey, we have no regrets about the love we gave, the kindness we shared, or the courage we showed. And when we live like this, we become ready not just to enter eternity, but to embrace it with peace, with hope, and with a heart full of love. In the end, preparing for eternity means living a life that aligns with who we were created to be. A life that reflects light. A life that spreads love. A life that leaves the world better than we found it. A life that honors those who have gone before us. A life that prepares us for the moment when we too will step into eternity and discover that the love we lived on earth was only the beginning of the love that awaits us.